if it's not measurable. If I run a 40-yard dash in 40 seconds, that's measurable. Art is not.
Yes, art is measurable. That's why we.
If you disagree, that's how people argue. Oh, you're for disagreeing. I don't think it's constructive. But yeah, that's like the secondary Hollywood. Like it's a lot cheaper to film, and Hollywood's been looking at filming places cheaper. And also, like we saw the Obi-Wan Kenobi. Leon can back me up on this one. We saw the sounds, like the soundstage or the stuff in the background where where they would run out of set. Remember that, Leon, where they would run out of set, like when we'd have Darth Vader chasing Obi-Wan, right? The soundstage.
No, I didn't follow that at all. I don't give a fuck about Disney Star Wars. I don't even cover it on my channel anymore.
All right, man.
Oh yeah, you haven't, Leon.
Yeah.
No, I've not covered Disney.
Oh, I thought you would know about. I thought.
Attention.
No,
I didn't know you cut it off.
I've stopped following anything and everything related to Disney Star Wars.
You're not gonna give me an Alkalite video?
I didn't know you cut it off that soon. I didn't know that.
I was already in the process of cutting it off. Ahsoka came out. I tried to give it a shot. I did what I never do, which is drop a series or drop Ahsoka 5 episodes in. I thought, fuck it. I'm not making Star Wars videos anymore. I'm not making Star Wars shorts. If I'm on other people's streams and they bring it up, I'll talk about it. But I'm not talking about it on stream. I don't give a fuck. I'm 100% done with Star Wars.
Yes. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers.
You got a serious.
Let me Let me reel it back for a second. I canceled Disney Plus yesterday.
I'm using my mom's Disney Plus.
Yay!
No, because all right. So listen to this. So I'm part Native American. Echo came out, right? So I understand some of the concepts that they were doing, but the fact is, it had a lot of potential. And
no, it didn't. Go on.
No, it didn't.
No, actually, it
was a show based off of the message.
No, there was other things they did in Kahori. What if you watch that? So I was basing on that because there was a lot of cool concepts on that with because this is why it was there was cool concepts is because it was based on original things they did in Native American culture as far as like certain tribes and how they originated.
I could not.
Right? I don't expect any of you guys to know that, and that's not your problem, right?
But I've told you before. I was raised on the Cherokee Nation.
Yeah, but I'm raised on Sioux.
No, I grew up technically living in another country. The Cherokee Nation is not even technically part of the U.S. I grew up literally on Native American.
Yeah, but I'm
very well versed in Native American
culture. I gotta take the dogs outside.
All right, we're gonna out Native American.
Take care,
guys. But
love you, buddy.
I
don't give a fuck that Marvel decided to make some sort of TV show with some sort of Native American stuff, all to do it to push a diverse message. I don't give a fuck. That's not what anyone was asking for.
But let me
Native American
finish.
population wasn't even asking for Echo.
But some people appreciate it. But let me push back on this. I don't think this was a great series. I think you're hopefully not. I don't think this was a great series, bro. I don't think it was at all. And my whole thing was that, I understand some of those things in the origin of all the characters. What this was based on that tribe, which was not my tribe. And, I'm mixed, right? But the thing is, this is based on like a different tribe, and they integrated people in the characters. Obviously, not all of them are going to be actors, right? Because they represent 1 to 2% of America. Because hold on. I get the fact, but because there's 1 to 2%, I agree with the fact that the actor for this that played Maya, right? She was not an actress. I find that a huge problem, Leon. A huge problem.
I don't even care about that. The fact of the matter is, Marvel is dead. They shouldn't be making content. I don't give a fuck if it's Native American. I don't give a fuck if it's superhero shit. Disney should not be making things right now because Disney is objectively garbage. It does not matter what
Disney,
it is. I don't care if it's Marvel. I don't care if it's Star Wars. I don't care if it's animated. I don't care if it's live action remakes. Disney should not be doing things.
Okay, well, I understand where you're coming from. But like, if we're going to make, oh, sorry, someone left. But if we're going to make something and like have some like sort of hard, I think it started out okay. But the problem is it's really hard to shoot like sign language and all that, which my mom does. My mom,
Disney shouldn't be making it.
Disney
should not be making things right now. Tell me the last good thing Disney made, and you're gonna give me something from maybe 2016.
Well, Marvel is sick right now. I agree with you on that. With
it has been for years upon years, so I don't give a fuck about
the woke mind. The woke mind virus.
Take the wokeness aside. They've not been making
the storytelling has been bad.
You can make something that's woke and it can be good. I don't give a fuck about the wokeness. I'm tired of the woke, anti-woke stuff. I just want good thing. Marvel has Disney has not produced good thing in literal years.
Well, I push back on that because Guardians of the Galaxy was actually profitable based on the box office number.
Okay at best.
Yeah, but it was still profitable. So
profitable doesn't mean good. Profitable has never meant good. You cannot say just because thing made money is good.
No, but did you like it, Leon? That's the question. Did you like it? Did you like it?
I watched Guardians 3 and
Blaine, did you like it?
Did I like what?
The Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think overall people like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Come out in?
I never watched that myself.
I know. Maybe we should have the conversation. Maybe, Leon, maybe this conversation we have like on my channel at some point. I think it'd be a good conversation. But I understand what you're saying, bro. I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you, honestly. I don't think we're like. I think you understand what I'm coming from. I understand what you're saying.
No. I understand where you're coming from. I just think you're trying to be nice about it. And at this point, I don't give a fuck. It's Disney. I don't even want to waste time thinking about it or talking about it when there is good stuff or even bad stuff that's at least like Capcom pulling the shit they're pulling about getting rid of mods, for example. That is worth talking about. That is an affront to the gaming industry, and it's an affront to gamers that pay money for products. I care more about that than, oh, look, Disney still sucks. All right, I don't want to be a fucking broken record. Disney's sucked for a decade. They're probably going to continue to suck for another decade. Let's talk about things that we have a chance at changing by nipping in the bud, not just being a broken record and saying, yep, more Disney. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I realize like your notion here, and I realize like everyone's like all hardcore about it, and you have to be hardcore in order to push the message.
I don't even want to be hardcore. I want to not talk about it, period. That's the opposite of hardcore. Yeah. I want it to stop existing, and if it's not going to stop,
well, the thing is,
I don't want to talk about it because it's not even fun to make fun of anymore, and that's the sad thing. At this point, it's not even fun to poke fun at because you cannot say anything that has not already been said. There is nowhere to go aside from grifting, and I don't play that grifting game. We all know Disney sucks. Let's talk about it.
I respect you on that point, which I've heard you say before, because I was like, we were talking about Star Wars earlier before when I was streaming, and we had like a pretty fair like response on that and what's going on, because I don't like, I think this stuff should create the awareness, right? Because this is what they do. Like they say, if we don't like a film that's led by a film director, they're just like, "Oh, you're a misogynist," and they call us all this name. But like when Patty Jenkins, right? We were talking about this earlier. Patty Jenkins, not on my stream, and I think we talked about maybe in the past that Patty Jenkins was announced, and we're all for it. She was like in the Wonder Woman.
I was not all for it. No, I was not all for Patty Jenkins doing a Star Wars movie because it's Disney Star Wars. Patty Jenkins did a fine job with Wonder Woman, a shit job with Wonder Woman 2. I don't care. They could have gotten goddamn Quentin Tarantino. No. They could have resurrected what's his name? Guy who did, they could have resurrected Alfred Hitchcock from the grave and had him do a Star Wars movie. I don't give a fuck. It's Disney.
The thing is, this was in between that, bro.
No,
she did a marketing material.
A good Star Wars product since Rogue One in like 2014 or 15, whenever that was. I
would argue The Force Awakens was good enough to give a lot of casual fans back
before Rogue One, and also Force Awakens is not good; it's fine at best. Rogue One came out after. Since Rogue One,
but it was enough to make $2 billion. Like if you're telling me that
fucking billions of dollars.
So what, man?
More money than Force Awakens. Just because something makes money does not mean it is of objectively good quality.
I mean, yes and no, but like,
no,
who are you to say
just no?
Going out of that, bro. If the masses are going out saying they enjoyed a film,
but
a film doesn't.
But there's a difference between going out
9 or 8 out of 10, bro.
No,
if a film is decent, what's the problem?
But
you know what I mean?
We're talking about things that are not decent. Just because something makes money does not mean it is
of the
good.
Audiences are wrong. Just straight up, most audience members.
No, well, I understand what you're saying
because
correct.
they don't have good taste.
People
they have such a low bar for quality. They will say 80 to 90% of anything they watch, anything they consume, is good, and that's just not the case.
Well, the thing is, I understand what you're saying is because we get lost in our jobs. We get lost in the work that are 9 to 5, which is freaking boring as fuck. And we work with a lot of dumb, I get it. The problem is like, as reviewers, we get in like this space, blah, 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 blah. I get it. So the thing is, it just, man, who are you to tell someone that their opinion is invalid?
Because it's not an opinion. You can have the opinion, I like something, that's fine. But what people do not realize, and this really annoys me that people don't realize this, is that there is such a thing as objectively good art. People like, art is subjective. Yes, aspects of art is subjective. However,
I disagree. Let's debate that. Let's debate that.
This isn't done.
I'm ready for that.
There is objectivity to art. There's a reason that story structure, such as the hero's journey, has existed for years upon years. There's a reason that certain painting techniques have existed for years upon years, because there is an objectivity to art. Now, can you break from the norm and do things that are still good? Absolutely. But for everyone to just claim art is subjective is flat out actually incorrect.
No. Okay, so this is how I mitigate this whole argument, is because if it's not measurable. If I run a 40-yard dash in 40 seconds, that's measurable. Art is not.
Yes, art is measurable. That's why we.
You're retarded if you disagree. That's how people argue. Oh, you're retarded for disagreeing. I don't think it's constructive telling people you're retarded or you're retarded for doing that. That's what people do. I don't think you're retarded for disagreeing, but if you say an argument and call people retarded, but do you think that's constructive? Stop doing that.
You are wrong. There's a reason that certain.
All right,
types of writing.
That's fair.
There's a reason that certain types of writing have existed for the reason narrative structure has existed for 4,000 years.
There's a difference between subjectivity and objectivity.
That's why
objectivity is something you can measure.
Yes, and you can measure.
If something's long as 12 inches, like my dick, you can measure 12 inches.
Tim,
you can't measure film enjoyment. You can't measure.
You are not. There is a reason.
You can't measure quality.
Plus years, narrative structure is it has a singular way of writing. There's a reason narrative structure is beginning, middle, end, because that is objectively correct. So if
that's not objectively correct, that's on your opinion.
No, that is not an opinion. If it was just an opinion, we would not be consistently doing it the same way throughout all of human evolution and existence.
All right. So let me break it down here. I agree with you in the fact what you're bringing up. So let me paint out in my scenario. I'm not saying you're wrong, man. I think you're bringing up very valid points, Leon. I'm listening to them. And I think you're right, but I think the fact that there is different avenues of storytelling, right? Can we all agree on that, right? Different avenues. Let's set the basis of storytelling or definitions or something that we can universally agree on. I'm trying to set the state in which we can talk.
I like that comment, Blaine.
So, is that okay if we talk okay?
Yeah, let's lay a baseline. What is the baseline for? Because are we just using art in general? Is art the baseline? Because at that point, anything.
So no.
So what's your baseline?
Okay, all right. So the baseline of storytelling, when we look at a series compared to a movie, it's vastly different. If you look at a season, like an episode, whatever breakdown. If we have all right, 8 episodes in a series or 20 episodes in a series, it can't always be the 3-act arc. because that will have villain of the week. There always has to be a hook at the end. So
hold on. I'm going to stop you.
That's the most progressive.
Hold on, Tim. Hold on. You said we got to establish a baseline. Well, I already disagree. So that's not a baseline. Here's the thing. You're right. There will always be, or at least almost always, be a
hook.
three.
So therefore, it's
hold on, Tim. There will always, or at least almost always, be a 3-act structure. But even episode to episode, there are 3-act structures. If you've got one season, let's say that season is 22 episodes, that whole season will have a 3-act structure. Each episode within those seasons will have 3-act structures. If you've got a whole series, all those seasons cumulatively will have 3-act structures within the season. So while yes, you can technically be unorthodox and not always do that, 99% of the time, that is how stories in general are written. So we've got, like you said, we have to agree on a baseline. So if we need to figure out a different way to attack this situation, if that's going to be your baseline.
Okay, Leon, brilliant. Okay, this is my point. So now that we came to agreement is the fact that all these things have been doing that. The storytelling is freaking still from all these series coming out because they're doing that.
Because they're doing what?
They're 3-act arc with
no. Again, the 3-act structure. And there's more to writing. There is more to a narrative than just a 3-act structure, mind you. But let's use that since you brought.
That's what I said. But what I'm saying is that the fact, Leon,
we didn't just talked about, all of a sudden get tired of it after it's been around for 4,000 years, Tim. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. In 2018, we in the internet decided we were tired of the 3-act structure when it's been working for 4,000 years. No, that is not the problem. The problem is the content written within said 3-act structure.
I agree with that fact, bro. I agree with that fact, but like it doesn't. I think the difference is it doesn't, like what we're saying is, like what I'm saying is, doesn't always work. What you're saying is doesn't always work, right? Like you're bringing up good points. I understand what you're saying.
There is objectivity to art, and within that objectivity, you will have things that are subjective. However, when people claim, "Oh, art is subjective," as a whole, they are wrong in that assertion.
Well, I think you're right, but wrong, because there is a guide to art. Like when I was taking like film classes,
if I made a Harry Potter movie, Tim, let me ask you this: if I made a Harry Potter movie,
Potter.
If I made a Harry Potter movie, and at the very end of the Harry Potter movie, Luke Skywalker flew down on a unicorn and destroyed Voldemort with a fucking air guitar, would that make sense? Would that be well written?
I would just say Leviosa. Fuck off.
Yes or no, Tim?
Expector Rotonum.
I don't give a fuck about your dumbass. I'm being 100% serious here. If I made a Harry Potter movie and at the end, for no reason, Luke Skywalker appeared riding a unicorn and killed Voldemort with a guitar, would that be a well-done story arc, movie, book, however it's presented?
Obviously not, but that's gaslighting. I feel like
obviously not, which that proves there is
gaslighting, though.
No, that's not gaslighting. That is my point. That there is
it is gaslighting.
If you can answer obviously not and not say, well, there could be a subjective way where that would actually be. No, you're right. It would not work. So boom, art does have objectivity. Writing has objectivity. There is subjectivity within it, but there is an objective base.
Well, didn't I say like 5 minutes before there was that? And I was trying to agree with you?
I agree and disagree. There is no agree. This is yes or
That's what I meant, man. That's what I meant. Sorry. But it didn't portray that later. Just like
I agree / disagree. But no, there is no room to disagree if you're factually wrong. It's
not factually wrong because like I agree with you, but I don't agree with you.
That's what makes it factually wrong because I am 100% correct here.
No, you're not 100% correct here because art is not objective.
Yes,
it's subjective.
It is.
No, listen, Leon. It's objective and objective, which you taught me tonight.
There are objective qualities to art, many of them.
Yeah, objective and objective. Can we disagree to agree about that? Objective? Right? Yeah, both agree on that.
Yes, like I said,
though
there's
so that doesn't make you like ultimatum.
But that has been
correct.
My point.
It doesn't make me ultimately wrong.
Of your own arguments, you're too busy thinking of your own counters.
No,
you're not listening to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is People who say all art is subjective are wrong.
I just said, dude, I just said that it's not all subjective. I just gave you the benefit of the doubt. I said that what you said, I'm meeting in the middle with you, man. That's all I'm saying. And
but then why did you follow it up with I agree and disagree? Because that implies you don't completely agree. So
no, because I agree, disagree means 50%.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't put illustrate.
When I say
all right,
art has an objective base, what do you disagree with on that?
All right. So let me break it down. So I'm going to meet with you on the middle. I do agree the fact that art.
What do you disagree with?
No, I'm going to say, because the conversation is going to go on for an hour. I agree with you on the objective.
It is a simple question. Don't answer as
it's not a simple. It's not a no objective. No. Objective and subjective. We already went through it, bro. We can talk about this later on some other Explains podcast. I apologize, man. I didn't mean to hijack your stream.
That's easy content for me,
bro. Yeah, but,
he's just ranking it in. Why would he want it on his stream? He gets free content.
That's what I'm looking at. But dude, no, I already said my points, man. It's just because you can't measure it,
That's
man.
what's bothering me is you haven't said anything.
I said it earlier. I said it earlier, didn't I? Blaine,
what point? What do you? When I say art has an objective,
I said it.
What do you disagree with?
I said it earlier.
What do you disagree with? It should be. If you know what you disagree with, it should be easy to answer, Tim.
Expector Patronum. Just kidding. All right. So yeah, I know about Harry Potter. How about that? All right, catch me outside. All right. So the thing is, I've seen this conversation before, and this is where I do the mic drop. You can't measure art. It's because it is a subjective, but as a film student, I know there's an element of a guide on storytelling. But the thing is, you can't measure film or something or looks or whatever from a scale, because you can never get those numbers. If someone's 6'1", that's objective. If someone weighs 200 pounds, that's objective. Mic drop, boom.
That is not how objectivity and subjectivity
works,
Tim.
Exactly how objective, because it is
completely
profound,
wrong,
precise source. No, what is wrong about it?
If you ask what's wrong, let him answer.
If you're 6'1", 200 pounds, or if you can jump,
Tim,
if you have a 40-inch vertical and dunk, that's objectivity.
No,
mind blown.
Completely wrong.
Oh shit!
That's not what we're talking about.
How is that wrong?
He is about to explain.
How is that wrong?
Not talking.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. Tim.
Yeah,
that's straight up not what we're talking about. Because
okay, so I was talking about that earlier. Now we're pivoting the conversation to something else.
Explain, please. I want to hear what he has to say.
Do you want me to say why? Is because that's not at all relevant. There's multiple ways to define words. When we're talking about objectivity in art, we're going to be talking about what can be defined, like Leon was talking about earlier. 3-act structure is a pretty simple one. 3-act structure objectively works,
which is the most progressive. Hold on. No, Leon, you interrupted me a lot.
What did you have to say about 3-act structure being progressive?
You're not even going to let's.
Okay, so the 3. All right, hold on. I'll answer it because Leon interrupted me a lot.
Right, I would like Serranos to finish his points.
All right. Nobody asked me a question.
I did just ask you a question. What's your problem with 3-act structure? You want to make a comment on that?
Because it's the most basic commercialized storytelling. Shouldn't we be involved in story?
It objectively works and has worked literally forever, as he was saying.
Objectively,
yes.
Okay. What is there? Some
it objectively makes sense in
numbers?
terms of rising tension, peak, and falling tension.
If it did
this
not
works
make
for
but
this works for all media in terms of it's called a 3-act structure, but that's just it's just a wave. It's just showing the way it goes in terms of how it makes us feel, because we're humans and we can scientifically identify what's going on in our brains. You can see what's happening in people's brains while they're watching content, while they're listening to music, while they're playing a game.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Successful method of storytelling, it would not be. You said yourself that it's the most common commercial. If that was I'll say
it's basic. It's basic because it shows no nuance.
Basic, that means it is objectivity to it. Yes, because that means it's widely accepted as the correct way.
Makes it objective.
Yeah, like a basic bitch going to Starbucks. Who gives a fuck about Starbucks?
Yeah, that's why I said you're completely missing the point.
And it's still effective. Proves the base objectivity.
Also over 6,000 years, Leon.
Thank you, Sir. I was fair enough. 6,000.
Over 6.
Yeah,
over 6,000.
It's over 9,000.
You need to get it right here. Actually, it's over 6,000 years of recorded
according
history.
To my sources from Disney, it's 6,001 years ago. Oh damn. Okay. Yeah, my issue with here is that, like, you know, we're in the year 2024. Why haven't we advanced from the story structure? And the fact that is, like, when we look at other series like Arrow, there's always a hook. Therefore, that doesn't mean it's always a 3-act structure. There's always hook. So therefore, if you have a hook at the end of a series, that's not the 3-act structure.
Yes,
there's a hook that leads into the start. No, it's not.
It's completed
because that would be villain. No, hold on.
Arrow had a lot of 3-arc hooks.
It would be villain of the week.
Fight, Alex.
It'd be villain of the week.
That show always had.
It'd be villain of the week.
Not what a hook means.
It would be villain of the week. Hold on. There's episodes that would just end.
Explain what you think a hook is.
No, you didn't hear what I said before. There's some episodes where they just end. There was no hook. But then the other episodes that were main canon in Arrow, I watched season 1 and 2 religiously.
Explain
and then, like, obviously, it just, like, a hook is like end credit scene. It's like, okay, come watch it again, like what Marvel did. So they didn't truly have a 3-act arc. Come on, a 3-act arc just ends. So everyone's trying to do a trilogy. So it's never going to be like
it's not the same as a 3-act structure. That is not actually.
No, but hold on. You didn't let me finish. Everyone's trying to interrupt me. I was going to explain that. So
you're explaining.
There's a 3-part. I never said cliffhanger.
That's what I'm saying.
I said it like
hook is not.
I said it 10 minutes earlier.
No,
but
hook,
I didn't get to explain that.
Hook has a definition. What is the definition of hook in literature? What is the definition of a hook in literature?
Dude, I didn't get to explain it. I was trying to talk about these other points, bro. But you didn't let me finish my argument.
You said there's a hook at the end of the episode. You're already wrong. Hooks don't happen at the end. Cliffhangers do. Hooks take place at the beginning of a narrative. A hook
brings you to the next episode, dude. If you don't have a hook like Game of Thrones, a hook in it, like Game of Thrones. Why do you watch Game of Thrones? Because there's
you're using hook incorrectly.
Okay,
hook is something that happens at the beginning of a narrative to hook you into the narrative, to keep you progressing forward, to keep the viewer or the reader interested. You get them hooked at the beginning, and then you continue.
All right, Leon, I agree with you on that. Leon, hold on, Leon, I agree with you on the hang. Sorry, I misused the term, but my point was earlier is that. You don't I agree with you on the hang. Hook, hang. I used the wrong terminology, right? Congratulations. So I think, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, it's the hang in Game of Thrones, which lead us into the sim. I love Game of Thrones. Season 7, 8 obviously fell down. I don't know if we have any people talking about that. But like I was just trying to bring up that like storytelling today is still. Right, I think we can all agree on that. I don't think it has to be the most.
Storytelling is stale.
Look at like
stories for like I've been saying 6,000 years, and we've been doing it in a relatively similar fashion. And there's still.
Well, look at the Marvels,
I'd like to move to something else a little bit. I would like to mention the fact that tropes exist.
That's another.
Tropes do exist, but. Leon, I don't know how you don't like agree. Like you didn't like the Marvels. That's what I was talking about.
Because it's bad, not because writing is all of a sudden in 2024 different than it was for the last 6,000 years. You can just have poor.
It's absolutely different, man. Because there's like it is, man. It's absolutely different. Dude, they have like intentionally like checklists they have to do on. You know this. You go on freaking Hypnotics channel.
Checklist stuff. That's again. I'm not talking about political. I'm talking about art. I'm talking about how
3
art
has to
is
be in
created.
the third space, doesn't it?
Oh,
I'm talking about how
Yeah,
art
the green
is
means it has
created.
to be in that space. Purple means it's in the equation.
Gotcha.
So when we're talking about how art is created, I'm not worried about political stuff. I'm not worried about checklists. I'm not worried about whammon or wokeism, nothing like that. We are talking about the concept of creating a good story or a good painting or a good book or whatever it is that you're doing in terms of making art, a sculpture. So, for example, when you talk about the end and it not being part of a 3-act structure because there's a cliffhanger, cliffhangers do not negate the 3-act structure. Ending on a cliffhanger.
I disagree, man.
Ending on a
I disagree
cliffhanger
because
is a type of ending. So it's still part of the 3-act structure because the end of the 3rd act
is not the traditional.
End. Yes, it is traditional. They've been doing cliffhangers.
If you watch The Gladiator, that's the 3-act arc and it ends.
Didn't invent the cliffhanger. Cliffhangers have been around since the fucking Greek myths.
That doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean they're objectively true. What I'm bringing out with the fucking Gladiator, it just said Inception just ended.
Why are we still
They
doing
had the arc and it just freaking ended and it left the question, man.
And
like it doesn't have to be
ending,
like
Tim. That's why it's called open-ended. It's a type of ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found my autism.
I never said
Very
that.
good.
I never said that on Inception.
I just
like
had to tell you
Inception's
the
one of my
key and
great
you figured out the code.
films
Right,
of all
but
time.
Inception still follows the 3-act structure. It has an ending. It's an open ending, but it's still an ending. Almost all narratives have a 3-act structure.
Alrighty.
Turn
All
it
right.
straight.
Everyone's getting muted
Well,
here in a second.
technically-
Hold on, Tim. All right.
Blaine is dying here.
Leon,
Yes.
what are you saying right now?
That there is an
This is
objectivity to art. That there can be subjective things within said art, but there is an objective basis to most, if not almost all art.
If I just write objective art, everyone knows what I mean, right? All right, give me 1 second here. Tim, what are you saying?
I'm saying the fact that things are misconstrued because people don't know the
Tim, give me 3
terminology or understand.
sentences. 3 sentences. What are you saying right now?
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
Or misinterpretation.
What is being misinterpreted?
That the fact that because we listen to higher ups and that's where their opinions come on.
Who are the higher ups?
We know who the higher ups.
Who? Give me a name or a company or stop. Stop, Tim. I need a name or a company. Who are the higher ups?
Okay, so
that give the misinformation.
I'll say objectivity versus objectivity, logic, actual.
What does this mean?
Meaning that people can't recognize what the term means because they don't know the definition is because if you can run a 40-meter dash in 4 seconds, therefore you can run a meter in 4 seconds because it's measurable.
Thank you. Serranos, what is the current disagreement between these two people?
Tim doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, come on, don't give me the jackass one. What are they arguing about right now?
Tim was saying that there isn't that much objectivity to art. He disagreed what objectivity is, really.
So the argument is that we don't know. Hold on. Give me a second. Tim, are you arguing that we cannot know objectivity or that objectivity doesn't matter?
I feel like objectivity is not people use the term objectivity and they don't bring any factual evidence when I can display like how I'm 6'1".
Okay, yeah, I know there's things you can
72 inches. So I'm pretty precise on my measurements, but they can't display that, and they're like I'm retarded, and they're not understanding that because they watch too much and hang out in their bubble. And
what the fuck does your height have to do with art?
It's because I'm being precise. That's
being
the difference.
Precise
because it's because they're saying they think
who they is it Leon? Is Leon saying this?
Leon's my homie, and I'll disagree with him all I want.
Yeah, but is he the one currently saying this?
The kind of voice. Well, him and a lot of people call.
I
me
don't care about a lot of other
that.
people. I'm talking about right
that.
now. You two are talking, and I'm trying to figure this out because I've just been playing around, and now I want to know what this is about. So, what do you disagree with Leon about right now?
I just disagree the fact. I think we disagree the point of objectivity, because I think that's like when you say objectivity, that should be a fact. When you say something's objective, universal fact.
Okay.
When I paint on a measure.
Thank you, Leon. What are you saying is objective?
Like in reference to art, like how can art be objective? Is that what you're asking?
What have you said that was objective that Tim is currently disagreeing with?
One example was that humans have been writing stories more or less in the exact same format for over 6,000 years. That proves that there's a baseline objectivity to most types of storytelling.
Okay, so the existence of the story technique and the fact that we keep it around means that there must be some objective. Do you believe we can define the objective reasoning behind it, or do you just think there is an objective reasoning behind it?
I think that humans have evolved to tell and hear stories in such a manner. There must be a reason for that. There's a reason that incoherent stories that are nonsense are called. So
you don't really think that there's a way that we can like understand why that is, just that it does exist?
No, I think it's just evolutionary. I think it's base biology.
Okay. All right, Tim, so you disagree that there is an objective way to tell stories?
Yes and no. Like what me and Leon were talking about. Yeah, there's a middle point.
Right. But
yeah, I think this, it's blown up portion. I think me and Leon have like a counterbalance. I do honestly believe there's objectivity, but I think there's subjectivity to film.
Leon, do you agree that there's a subjectivity to film?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying from the get-go, is that I've said that all art has an objective basis, and then there can be subjective within said art.
Okay.
But you have to have an objective base, and then he said multiple
times. Sorry, Alex, I caught you in the
agree and disagree. I agree and disagree. I'm wondering, what does he disagree on then? Because that's the crux. Where do we disagree? We agree that there's an objective basis. I need to know where we disagree, and he's not giving an answer to that. I'm curious where the disagreement lies.
Well, I thought we already discussed it. I thought, like, I was reading your mind.
Is there anything else you want to ask me,
okay.
or should I go to bed now?
You can go to bed.
It's because...
Okay.
Sorry, Serranos.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a shower.
Good to see you, bro.
Head to bed.
Go kill us, Ron. Love you, bud. Thank you.
For my mediator between...
No, it just, I don't want, like, Leon or, Blaine, it was your channel. I didn't want to...
No, you speak all you want.
I respect you, so...
You speak all you want. I think it's great. I was able to play some fun, silly games. I hear argumentation, but like I don't understand what the argument is about, and it frustrates me. So it's nothing. It's nothing beyond that. The question is just, what is the, if this idea of someone saying, I don't like this movie because it is objectively bad, because it breaks the basic tenets of storytelling that we stick to. I could write a counter argument to that, being that there are stories coming from Russia. There are stories coming from just really weird auteur filmmakers that don't follow the typical storyline beats, but can still be done in such an interesting way that we stick on to them. But that they are a rare breed of someone who can tell a story that has no conflict. And I
completely agree with that. That's why I used the example, earlier. The example I used was, if I was writing a Harry Potter story, and then at the very end of the book, out of nowhere, a Star Wars character appears riding a unicorn and kills Voldemort with a guitar, would that not be objectively bad storytelling because it comes out of nowhere? There's no setup, there's no payoff. It does not make any sort of logistical sense within the universe built. Are there very rare cases where things like that can work? Absolutely. The reason it's objective is because 99.9 repeating % of the time, that's not going to work. We have an objective basis that we've followed for 6,000 years as a species.
So then real quick, Tim, are you fighting for that what do you call it? Exception? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. I get what you're saying, but like the thing is, like, David and Goliath, man, like, isn't that story? And why can't that happen again?
Real
And
quick,
also the
to
fact
answer Bummer
that
Enthusiast, yes, Pulp Fiction does follow a 3-act structure. Just the 3 acts are out of order, and you have to put them together in order in your mind. And once you put them in the correct chronology, it does follow a 3-act structure.
Real quick, Tim, how does David and Goliath match on with a Star Wars character entering the Harry Potter universe and using a guitar to kill someone?
Yeah, it's because they're kind of like, it's always the characters that come unspontaneous, the people that don't realize
Who's
their
spontaneous in
self-worth,
David
the
and
people
Goliath?
David's obviously the smaller man.
Did David come from a
obviously,
different universe?
He's an
He's an
this is fantasy we're
established
talking about.
character in the universe of Jewish history, so that would make perfect sense for David
Yeah,
to be there.
but we're living in the constraint of that. But like when we're talking about like Marvel, DC, or Star Wars, a galaxy far, far away, it's fantasy. Anything can kind of happen.
No, that's
I
not
would believe
correct.
it more.
But hold on,
Hold on.
Your issue.
Let me.
Because it's fantasy does not mean anything can happen. If you're writing a story, within that story is its universe, and within that universe there are rules. Once your in-universe rules are broken, that presents a bad writing problem. So just saying it's fantasy, anything can happen, is an inherently flawed logic.
No, I disagree on the fact that like the galaxy is ever growing, and the fact the brand is ever growing, and like it's a character that you never know of, and you bring them in, and you like this person was from the origin story, and they expand on the story.
But that's not
what
the
would be
same
the
thing.
issue with
Anything
that?
That's
can
in
happen.
universe,
it just
right?
Yes, that is in
yeah,
universe.
but but the thing is, like, they're constantly bringing in new characters with the MCU. I agree with the fact, like, Echo and stuff. I have been stuff about Echo as being like a mixed Native American guy, but like,
stick to the point at hand.
no,
The point at hand was you said in
we'll stick to-
fantasy
we'll-
anything can happen. Justify
yeah,
that.
I'm which it can't.
Justify that.
Yeah, which it can, but it cannot, right? But like we're talking
Hold on,
about
Tim.
this
Not that
universe,
it, not
the
that it,
galaxy
not
part-
that it cannot. It can't. Anything can happen. I can write a Marvel movie where we have Shrek show up, right? Now, should I write that, and will people go see that? No, right? It's not a can or can't.
Yeah.
Like, you can write anything, but should you write anything, and should people think it's good?
To add to that, you can't logically write with the current rules of the universe. You can't logically write that, and logical consistency is objective. There is such a thing as logical consistency, which is part of
I disagree with that. Why are the Fast and Furious movies, like besides the last one, been a cultural phenomenon? The things don't needs to make logical sense.
Okay,
all the time,
hold on one second.
Out there, right? So,
the Fast and Furious movies make sense within their own universe.
yeah, but they keep bringing other characters in. But
that's
like
not
what I'm
what we're
talking about, like
arguing
Star
about.
Wars.
Bring it.
All right,
real quick, Leon.
All right, so
real quick, Leon. Do you is there a film that you can point to that ignores internal logical consistency that you enjoy? Like, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is close, but the logical consistency is that it is inconsistent. But is there something you can point to where you're like, this is a good movie, but it's inconsistent within its own world?
Not anything off the top of my head that I would call good. There might be some that I enjoy, but again, most of the time that's played for comedy, which is different than a narrative. Like, take Emperor's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove is intentionally comedically, or is intentionally logically inconsistent, and that's where it draws the comedy from. You know, so if it is an intentional comedic choice, yes. Does it break the narrative? Yeah, but again, that's the point, is for comedy. So that's the outlier. Hitchhiker's Guide is another great example.
I guess my point here is like just because it's a 3-act arc, which is like the most advertised thing, I want filmmaking to be more evolved, and I think that's the issue with as far as like bad storytelling. I think we can all agree with that. But if we're going to be focusing on 3-act arc for like each movie, it's not genuine. It's because
no one said that's what we needed to do, Tim.
Let him finish, Leon. Let him finish.
I'm part of the argument. No one said that's what we needed to do.
Let him cook.
I'm just making I'm just making a point. I'm not disagreeing with you. I like actually agreed and like self-proclaimed. I was like, yeah, I was agreeing with you. I think the problem with the film is it's just like they're not evolving, man. And they're just
what is it
like,
you need to see, Tim? What is it, or what do you want to see in film?
Well, obviously the first thing, like I covered tonight, like storytelling is first over diversity, whatever. I don't care.
What is storytelling?
If I'm representing,
what does that mean? What does that word mean?
Something that's relatable, something that's like character driven, something that's
so having characters.
Something that like characters that are compelling towards you. They don't have to be the most handsome characters. It can be like characters that you most really like.
So just like a slice of life. You had a bunch of characters that you really liked. You'd enjoy them.
Like Stranger Things. I think they do it well after season. They fell off a little bit, but then they came back.
But here, what you're talking about right now, Tim, that is the subjective. Some people might not want that. The objective part of storytelling would be getting from point A to point B, following structures that make logical, consistent sense within the universe of the story being told. I, for one, don't care about relatable characters. However, if a movie has relatable characters, great. If it doesn't, great. I first and foremost, before we do anything with the subjective, such as characters you can relate to, there needs to be an objective baseline for these characters that may or may not be relatable to even exist in, for the story, for the narrative to flow forward.
Well, I disagree with that because, like you're bringing up the subjective and the objective. Yeah, maybe a series doesn't start off like compelling, but when it really starts gelling, it's universally appealed. That's what I say. Universally,
but again, you're starting in the middle. You're starting in the middle. We're not talking about characters and stuff. That is the subjective. Your argument this whole time is that your argument has been that you cannot measure because art can't be measured. It can't be objective. That has been your argument during this. I'm stating yes.
Well, I also said
we both agree about the subjective aspect. So that is we don't give a shit about that. You and I agree on that. However, your idea that because art can't be measured, it can't be objective is inherently incorrect.
Well, I think that, I'll push back on that because I feel like you're doing the same thing. It's just like, it's based on our preference. Like, yeah, sure.
Wait, real quick,
there should be a structure, Leon, but
hold on a second, Leon. Tim, do you believe, just a real quick yes or no, that the film, a movie, is objective enough to say, this movie is better than this movie for everyone or nearly everyone on the planet?
Absolutely not, because
what percentage of people do you think you could get to agree that one movie is better than another based on purely the objective storytelling?
Probably 40%, 45%, because you're misrepresenting audience. They don't look at film like the same way you do, Blaine.
Who they?
Same way Leon. Like our parents, our family, our cousins,
what about
people
you?
I talk to the streets or after theater. I'm talking about it. Yeah, that's how I feel. This is how I feel because I talk to other people outside when I see something. Right? It's just like I don't want to live in my own box.
How I feel. I don't care how you feel. That is subjective. We are talking about objectivity.
Yeah, but
objectivity does not give a fuck about your
feelings.
But
Leon, the argument is whether or not objectivity can exist in liking a film or not, or a film being good or not. And good is inherently subjective as far as like we give it a scale based on X, Y, or Z. Now that X, Y, or Z scale is going to have objectivity to it, but what scale we apply to it is a choice.
Fair enough.
And
like
also the thing is, like
really he could vote that a character-driven thing is 100%, and you say it's only 40%, right?
No, those are
and
also both those things would be subjective. That's not my argument.
But what are you arguing for here right now? Then,
so at what point can you measure At what point can you consider something an artistic base objective, even if it cannot be measured, like you can measure height or you can measure time? Because that was Tim's whole argument in the beginning when you're playing that game was, I can measure how fast I can run a 40-meter dash. I can measure how tall I am. I can't measure how good a movie is. And my argument is that it does not matter that you can't measure how good a movie is. We can instinctively understand the objectivity of baseline art. You can build on the subjective stuff from there, but there's an objective baseline that we as humans instinctively know. That's why we've been doing storytelling the same way, more or less, for about 6,000 years.
Yeah, and that's why we're all bombing at the box office right now. So the thing is,
you're not all bombing on the box office. When we look at Godzilla,
the only one, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Godzilla,
and
Mario,
Boy and the Heron,
Mario, but
Mario.
How many films made success though? Like Flash bombed, Aquaman bombed, like all the superhero films bombed. Like Guardians of the Galaxy made money. Like Disney lost $1 billion over the last.
Tim, superhero movies aren't all exist. We've had movies for about 100 years now. To focus on movies, not genres, movies. But stories.
Those are the big tentpole movie makers.
But that changes every few decades. In the 50s and 60s, it was westerns and sci-fi, and we go through phases. So I don't care about the genres. That's going to change time period to time period. We're talking about
but we're looking at this specific point in time. Though we can't look at like the past.
And that's
we have to look at like the current moment right now.
That's what I've been trying to get you to understand. We're not looking at just this particular time. We are looking at the at how.
I didn't know that we were like moving the goalpost.
No, the goalpost has never been moved. You just have not been paying attention to my argument. That's the problem. I've been talking about. That's why I keep saying we've been doing it the same way for 6,000 years. Because my point is that no matter what time period of history you're in, we've been doing it this way. So it must be working if we've been doing it the same way for 6,000 years. It doesn't matter the story.
But it hasn't been working, dude. Look at the ratings of like the major shows.
6,000 years. There's always been bad content. There's always been bad.
Hold on, real quickly on. Tim, what do you mean it's not working?
Because, dude, I thought it was like universally known that like Star Wars has like Disney has like been crashing. Like stocks going down. Lost over $1 billion this last year.
Now,
like you're talking about outliers here.
No, real quick, Tim. Real quick, Tim.
All superhero films have lost money.
Hold on. How does Star Wars and Marvel and Disney losing money mean that storytelling as an objective, like this is what humans like, isn't true?
Because of viewership numbers. It's stats. Look it up.
How does one franchise failing mean that overall stories, like people are still buying books, right? People are still watching anime, right? People are still going to all these other locations. People are still going to these other locations to get stories that probably follow the same kind of story structure that we've had for 10,000 years.
Well, you can bring up the 10,000 numbers. I know we've never lived 4,000 or 10,000. We probably lived like 35.
Don't get into that with me right now. I want to hear an answer as to why you think one like branch of one thing failing has anything to do with all of the rest of what we typically look for in that thing. Like if one car sucks, like the 90s Mustang, no one wants it because it looked like ass. Does that mean that Ford as a company is gone, or that cars shouldn't have four wheels or shouldn't have engines? Like what does one thing failing mean about the overall objectivity of what we're looking at?
Well, because I'm saying objectivity, if you can't measure something, that's called like precise objectivity. Leon, I see your comment. Like if you don't like the definition, that's fine, but that's what it means. If I'm going to talk about actual stuff that with the stats, we've been all self-aware, man. I hate to become black pill or whatever. I try to
answer the simple question. what does one franchise or one production studio failing, or even one city? We'll just use all of Hollywood. You think all of Hollywood is failing, right? And that means we need to make a new form of storytelling. Meanwhile, Japan and other areas in the world are having the same story type that we've had forever, and they're doing well. Why would you blame the basis of how we tell stories and not the content of the stories therein?
Because we're supposed to be the innovators of the time. We had films like Inception. The problem is now, if you're going to
why does that change the basis of the objective? Here's how you tell a story.
Well, it's very pivotal because of the marketing. Because marketing affects everything. What Godzilla -1 is doing, they're not putting anything. It's just straight.
They're just telling a story based on how we've told stories forever. Correct.
Yeah.
So then what's the issue with Hollywood and Disney?
But Bland, let me give you
no. Answer this. It's a very simple question. What makes the difference between Godzilla and what Hollywood's putting out?
Is because they're pushing something in the marketing material that make an offset.
Cool. Does it have anything to do with the storytelling method?
Well, it does, because they're hiring people that are not.
Does it have to do with the act structure? Does it have to do with
it? It absolutely does. Blaine, it absolutely does. Is because these people are not qualified.
How does someone who's not qualified? Are you saying that it sucks as storytelling and they're not following the storytelling structure that we've objectively agreed is better as a human race?
No, not that, because they don't understand Star Wars. No, because if you look at the Obi-Wan series,
I don't.
There's a lot of people. Okay, so I'm bringing up some research here. People.
Objective facts.
Sorry,
research?
I wasn't. No. This is just what I tell. I'm not trying to be condescending, right? This is just what I know. So I think Leon could back me up actually on this. We all heard this, a lot of the writers that worked for Obi-Wan Kenobi, my favorite character of all time, by the way, in Star Wars, they didn't even know about Star Wars. They were just hired on because they were
I don't care.
I don't know, activists or anything like that.
You're focused on stuff you like, that you have an emotional, subjective attachment to, and you're not focused on the content.
It was just an example, dude.
But
that's what I was just bringing up.
Right. But you're bringing up an example that does not matter in the grand context of what
it does matter, because the whole grand scheme of this whole industry, bro.
This whole industry is not Star Wars, right?
I know, but this is the concept. I think Leon knows of this, but they're bringing in a lot of those people within Marvel and DC.
That doesn't alter anything. These people are not fundamentally changing storytelling as an objective thing. What me and Blaine are trying to. That's why we're asking very simple questions. Like when he used the Godzilla example, when he said, "What did Godzilla do?" and you said, "Told a story." Boom. So we have an objective base. For example, all the things you're talking about have nothing to do with objectivity in art. You're talking about subjective political shit that I don't care about. I'm trying to talk about objectivity.
But you go on Hypnotic stream all the time. So what are you talking about? I love his stream, by the way.
Hold on.
Tim,
what does Leon say on Hypnotic stream that has to do
with
this?
Just everybody, it is a political stream, whatever. Everything is political now.
Yeah, Leon, do you speak politics on Hypnotic?
I absolutely do. When I'm talking about politics, I talk about politics.
That's what I'm saying.
But we're not talking.
I don't know. I don't understand this notion that I'm obtruse, or I'm just being
because
gaslighting here.
No,
because
you're trying to make this a political conversation when that has never been what it was. If we want to talk politics, well, first of all, we're not going to do it now. We're already very late on Blaine's stream. But if we wanted to talk about politics, that would be one thing. But the conversation was about, can art be objective? And you said no, because since it can't be measured, it can't be objective. That has
And I'm going to
nothing
stand by
to
that.
do
You can't
with
measure
politics.
it, dude.
So I don't care who's being hired. I don't care who's doing what with wokeness. That's not part of the argument for whether or not you can measure objectivity in art. They're two completely
and I'll wait for you to measure it.
And I've explained that the fact that we've been telling stories the same way for 6,000 years, and we are still telling stories this way, and they are still successful, because, like Blaine said, Hollywood failing with some Marvel and Star Wars shit doesn't alter the fact that Japan is telling stories the same way they've been for 6,000 years, and it's working. That India is telling stories the same way they've been, and it's working. That Brazil is telling stories the same way they've been, and it's working. That South Korea is telling stories the same way they've been doing it, and it's working. Just because Star Wars and Marvel is not doing it doesn't mean that it is not objective throughout human history.
And don't you think the reason why it's doing successful because we're getting all this bullshit?
No,
because if you have a market, hold on, if you have a market over here that's demanding and you have all this bullshit, don't you think people are going to get feed into something like that?
Tim, the market is demanding us return to objective baseline storytelling, and
that's why China is doing so well. Boom, baby, boom. China's doing so well because they don't give a fuck. They're honey badger.
No.
They do what they want. That's why anime is so great. That's why One Piece was so great. No, that's exactly, dude. You're not seeing it, bro.
Guys.
That's exactly why they're successful. I'm not disagreeing with you, bro, but I'm just saying the fact that they're keeping it like kind of more neutral, or the fact is like basic more storytelling.
What is what China is doing have to do with can art be measured? Can objectivity and art be measured?
Well, you were branching out to some other things. You were just like, oh, objectivity and subjectivity.
Hold on, Tim. Hold on. Hold on. Did you? Is that all you heard? Is that all you heard? There was objectivity, subjectivity. Is that all you heard?
No, I, dude, like it was like 35 minutes ago that I agreed with Leon, but we decided to expand on this.
We're not expanding anywhere. We keep coming back to the same foundation of. Can you call storytelling objective in its ability to look at the story beats, the story plot, the story, like the things that go into a story that we can objectively say a human enjoys?
Yes.
Yeah, I said this like 35 to 40 minutes ago, and like it got blown up proportion. And I think like
here's where the breakdown is. Here's where the breakdown is Tim, you say, well, yeah, of course, that's objective, and then then you start talking about Hollywood and Star Wars, and let me tell you about this, and let me tell you about that, and now China's doing a thing, and you go to a thing where you start like attacking on like, well, but what about this? But like you're non sequituring into a thing that makes it sound like you're not agreeing with the basic premise of just like we can tell whether or not a show is good based on these objective qualities.
Well, it's important to like bring up like scenarios because like
is it more important than coming to an agreement tonight?
And also isn't important in the context of what is currently being debated.
It's master debated. So
if you and I were having a discussion about cars,
I'm trying to bring it back,
if you and I were having a discussion about cars, and you bring up airplanes. Yes, I'm sure I have opinions on airplanes, but those are not relevant to the discussion about cars. They are two separate.
I'd say it's closer to you're talking about like the speed and performance of cars, and then you start bringing up the paint job. Like that's sort of the equivalent, I would say.
Darn it, Plane! I love.
It's all good. It's all good. I love you both. All right, real quick. Don't worry, Mike. I'll get to you in a second. Leon, what's your stream? You streaming tomorrow with somebody, and then I'll see you Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're coming on Monday. Awesome.
Yeah.
You'll be on my show on Monday. Tomorrow, Saturday Night Hypnosis, as always, where we actually do talk about politics and stuff, and I'm the token liberal on that show, apparently. So, yeah, if you want to talk some shady shit about politics and nerd culture, then come do that. I put videos out every day. This stream went so much longer than I thought it would, but I'm probably going to only make one video instead of two like normal because, it's pretty damn late. So, check me out on my channel tomorrow, and then I'll be on Hypnotic's channel. Then Blaine will be gracing me with his presence on Monday, and it will be a blast. Thank you for having me on. Tonight's been awesome. And watching Seasonals again for the first time since like 2018 has honestly been great. It's really brought me back into the anime sphere because, boy, was I not into Seasonals there for a while.
Awesome. All right, Tim's talk. Tim, my man, I love
Yeah.
you. I will talk to you until the sun comes up. I have done that before. So you are always welcome here. I love you. Tell me what you got coming on
man.
next.
I didn't mean to.
Don't apologize.
like-
it wouldn't be as fun if we couldn't have a good discussion, a good back and forth. You're both very polite
think,
when I start talking, so it's great.
So, yeah, I think it was like an element of miscommunication. I do agree there's an objectivity and subjectivity. I agree with the fact on that. So we'll leave it at that. I love everybody 3000. Please follow Blaine, Leon, Pumpkin Man. I love you. You're okay.
Tim, I came here to ask you something, and I'm going to ask it. Do you still believe that things cannot be measured in movies?
My penis can be measured 10 inches, so that's objective. So there's a difference between subjective, objective. But by the way, Blaine, love you 3000. Please follow me on Tim's Talk, where I hang out with my Relos, Tim Possible Official, on TikTok and Instagram, because Relos are weird. But hit me up though. Back, baby. Yeah, we're road to monetization. Congratulations, by the way, Blaine, for getting monetization.
I'm halfway there.
Freaking been grinding. Oh, I thought you were there.
Well,
but
I've got memberships. I got memberships and subs, so I got the first half. I got the second half comes at 1,000. So I'm working it. Thank you for the premature. It's all right.
Yeah.
No one's ever called you that before.
That sub life. But everyone, I love you 3000. I love coming on. I love everyone coming on. I'm glad we can have a productive conversation. And hey, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.
Peace. Michael, was that your only thing to say?
I was just going to say that I think you can take apart.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. I love you. Good night.